now that should be a lot better. Okay, I'm gonna wait for the buffer. Okay. No sound. Okay, all right. Gosh, there's quite a bit of delay, quite a bit of lag, but I assume that it's all good now. And if some of you can kind of type in, that would be great too. Okay, great. We'll go from here. So for this today's session, so yesterday we did something fun. I had fun doing it. So let me remember if so we were trying to do something that one of my students had asked on the Friday session. Scott Ferguson had asked about being able to differentiate between de novo, kind of new sale from a new customer versus organic. And we created a measure for that. And when I created it, I redid what I'd done before the call. I made sure I'd practiced it. But then on the call, I had an idea. I was like, hey, what if we do this? And it turned out great. And I'm glad that happened. And I have talked to another DAX expert, and he talks about this. Where he says that a lot of times he's on a forum or somebody asks him a question, and he may spend 2 days figuring out the answer, and then he would just casually kind of pop in there saying, hey, yeah, here's how you do it, and that's okay. I get it. I do that too, right? But oftentimes when you're looking at kind of experts, you know you would get the impression that, oh, gosh, it's so easy for them, it's so hard for me. Believe me, it's it's sometimes it's hard for us too. But I think you have to enjoy that journey. You have to let yourself enjoy that journey. Hello, Raymond. Hello, Steve. Uh, yeah, hello, Berger. Okay, I'm sure there are others too. Hey, say hi in the chat box. Let me know where you're listening from, where you're watching from. I know Afzal is on from all the way from India. It's past midnight there. Thank you all for being here. So first of all, yeah, it's not always easy for us. Sometimes we make it look easy. You're like, yeah, it's all easy. So I'm glad you saw me go through a little bit of that stumble where I had written that measure, but then I realized, oops, there's a far better way to do it. So that was yesterday. So for today, my plan was that, I was thinking of all these fancy measures, like what's the hardest thing I can show them? But that felt silly. That felt silly. And I love my share of complex DAX measures. Hey, Corina, she's calling from Michigan. Berger, all the way from Sweden. Can't even say that right. Raymond is from Murica. I'm not sure where that is. Glad to have you guys on here. So yeah, yeah, I like writing my share of DAX, complex DAX measures. I call them awesome DAX measures. They're not complex, they're awesome. Because if they're doing something worthwhile, yeah, it's but um, the part that I like even more is stuff that was really hard, even impossible in the old world, and it's really easy in the new world. I love that stuff. And there's so many of those scenarios. So often when people start on Power BI, I talk to them and say, hey, the first project is important. Make it short, make it quick. Be bright, be quick, be gone, something like that. Um, and it typically works better if you do a new project, not try to redo something that's been done in Excel, even though that might be pretty painful. But do something new and focus on something which is really hard in the old world, but really easy in the new world. So today, instead of showing you something super cool and fancy, I want to show you this. And I'll bring it up first. So the credit for this goes to Apurva Agarwal. He is a finance guy, an MBA, really super smart guy I met at Microsoft. He's probably still at Microsoft. And he taught me RFY, as he called it, reach, frequency, yield. And it kind of blew my mind. And he's a finance guy, and I had been doing finance reports for a long time. And I was used to the way they did things like, hey, this is this quarter, here's a budget, here's a forecast, last quarter, month to date, year to date, all of that stuff. And I'm like, nailed it, done. And then he came to me with this and he said, so he explained the concepts. Reach is simply the number of customers you're reaching. Frequency is, well, how often are they coming to you? So in any given month, do they, purchase from you 3 times, 5 times? And yield is every time they come, how deep is that interaction? Are they spending $1? Are they spending $20? And of course, doesn't have to be sales, it could be something else. If you're just looking at website visits, you can say reach is how many visitors we have. Frequency is that, well, how many times in a month they come. Oh, they visit us 10 times on average. And yield could be like how deep is that. So every time they come, they spend average 22 and a half minutes, something like that. So you can extend it to pretty much anything, anywhere. Reach, frequency, yield, RFY. And so yeah, so today let's take a shot at this. Reach, frequency, and yield. And we're going to go to our model and try to define the reach, frequency, and yield. Hey, I'm going to pop out the chat box. Pascal is on. Hello. So Pascal signed up last night, today, sometime. So Pascal, I'm so glad to have you in the course, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in there. I see Jared from Florida. I might have missed saying hello to you. So yeah, hey, well, hello and welcome. Glad to have all of you in the call. So again, today we're gonna focus on reach, frequency, and yield, taught to me by the great Apurva from Microsoft Finance. So we're going to do it in our sales table, but again, it's applicable to other data sets as well. Could be anything, pretty much. So let's start with the reach. So that's the number of customers we're reaching. So I want to calculate the number of customers who are purchasing from me. So now if you look at the table, there is the customer table, which is a lookup table, and then there's a sales table. So I don't want to count on the customer table, but because that can have the complete list of customers. Maybe a lot of them are simply leads. They haven't bought anything from me. So I just want to focus on the customers who bought from me. So I'm going to focus on the customer key in the sales table. And I'm just going to do a distinct count of that because I don't want to count them twice. So we'll say new measure. Am I in the right table? Let's make sure. I want to create all of them in sales. So this is one thing that has come up a few times in the discussion in our class, which is organizing your measures separately. It is a good technique, and I like that too. So let's just do that as well. So the way I do it is I just say enter data and call it something formula, my measures, something measures, not my measures, but let's try formulas. So I'll say formulas, and then I don't touch anything else. And then I'm going to click load. So now I have a table to organize my measures. And what I do is I hide this column because the column was dummy. I don't really need the column. I just need the table. So I'm going to hide it. So it's actually not going to show anymore. But I'm going to do a new measure. And we'll say purchasing customer account. Actually, we'll just say reach. How about that? So reach is, and I'll say distinct count. And again, I was talking about things that are really hard in the old world and things that are super easy, and those are super easy in the new world. Distinct count, such a great example. When I teach a class live, I ask them before I talk about distinct count, like how would you do this in Excel? And there are always like 3 different ways, and each of those is kind of clumsy, kind of weird. And of course, it doesn't have the magic of define once, use everywhere, which is you define just once, just in one spot, and you can slice and dice it any which way you want. So that's the power of measure. So we're just gonna say distinct count, and we're gonna pick up the customer key in the sales table, not in the customer table. That's all customers. They may or may not have a sale. So we'll say distinct count sales customer, and I'll say no decimal places, whole number. Oop, actually this is not, this is a whole number and has commas. Okay, so that's reach. Oh, and one thing I forgot was I wanted to put it in my, organize it in my formulas table. So yeah, I mean, this approach has its pros and cons, but you can see that now I'm kind of organizing all my measures here. So that's my reach. Great, let's define the frequencies. Frequency. So for frequencies, how many times are they coming in? How many times is each customer coming in? So what if I first calculate that how many, what's like the total number of sales order for all customers? So let's say sales order count, and this is also a distinct count because my table is actually not at the order level, it's at an order line item level. So it can have multiple orders, so order date, order quantity, sales order key. So I'm going to look for the sales order key, and sales order key again can repeat multiple times. If I came in and my cart had 4 items, it would repeat 4 times. So sales order count, distinct count, perfect. And let's do 0 and formulas. So that is sales order count. And while we're here, let's just throw these numbers out there. So this is reach, and I'm going to use this one. So that's a card display. When it comes to display visualization, we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. But I'm a pretty plain Jane kind of guy. I like keeping it simple. And I think that's important when your report is going to be used every single day. If it's something fancy you're going to show off in a meeting, I would say even then it's probably better to keep it simple. Simple is good. But if it's going to be used every day, believe me, you get tired of fancy stuff. Okay, so we have reach and sales order count. That's total number of orders. But how many order came in for each customer? That's my frequency. How many times did one customer come in? Twice? 4 times? So this one is going to be, I'm going to take all the order count, sales order count, and then just divide it by reach. So that's how many times they came in. And let's do frequency, perfect. And it's in the right table, and this one is a decimal number, and one point. Yeah, let's do that. Add this here. Okay, so overall I've reached 17,000 customers, and they tend to come 3.2 times. But that's overall across all time. And last one is yield. Like when they do come in, how much do they spend? So here we go. Yield equals, well, I know the total that they spend, that's sales, and I know how many times that they're coming in. So this is the total number of orders, sales order count. And let's try that. So yield, this is currency, perfect, and decimal, I'm going to say 0. So let's do yield. So every time they come in, they spend $504. But again, the next is what's magical about Power BI, is that you define measures, and when you define measures, then you're not thinking that, oh, you know, do I have to do it by calendar, by month, by territory? Once you've defined it, you can slice and dice it any which way you want. So we're gonna take a reach and let's plot it by month year. Let's try that. How does that look? So again, this is kind of AdventureWorks data. So okay, so reach has gone up. Okay, and the next one, I'm gonna swap reach for frequency, and the last one, I'm gonna focus on yield. And maybe we'll filter it down to 1 year because of the crazy data set that we have. Let's see how that looks. Okay, fair enough. And this one I wanted to swap out with yield. Okay, so I know this is a fictitious company, but let's study kind of what's going on. Well, actually, you know what? This is kind of boring. I'll show you a real data set, but and I'll bring it back here. So let's do product category. So again, this is a finance principle, at least taught to me by a finance person. That's what I'm covering today. So the concept is reach, frequency, yield, and you can measure this for pretty much any system, anything you're doing. It could be sales, marketing, operations, support. So I'll show you a real data set. So this is somebody's real data. All right, and I think it's fascinating. And in fact, when I showed this to them, they were pretty blown away. They were pretty blown away. They had never looked at their business in this way. And again, it was not about writing a fancy DAX measure, but doing something like this would have been super hard, super hard in the old world. So you can see that this company has grown tremendously fast. And you can see that, yeah, they've had a terrific growth curve. So reach, they've gone out and attracted more customers, more and more. But if you look at frequency, it kind of starts about 1.2, ends about 1.3. So yeah, I mean, any given month, people only come to them for a little once. That's about it, right? That's for majority, they come only once. It's gone up a little bit, but not that much. And if you look at yield, which is, oops, this is not yield. Hold on. Oh boy, yield is another story. Yield has gone down. Look at that. I mean, they started off about 504, and now it's trending downwards, 429. So really simple measures, but they paint such a rich story, and they tell you where you can drive your business. So getting customers is not a problem. And sure, it'll be nice if they came to your site and purchased more, but maybe, who knows, maybe this is a B2B business and you don't purchase that often. But there's something going on with yield. I mean, you would like to see it go up. You want them to spend more and more. So is there pricing pressure from the competitor and so forth? So, but I mean, there could be so many paths you can go from here, but the data helps you guide on that journey and in the next step of exploration. So, and another thing, once you have this, then you can dive deeper, which this is just a dummy data set, so I can't do that. But if I go back to AdventureWorks, here you can study it, slice and dice it any which way you want. It's defined once used everywhere. So I can say, now I have the reach, frequency, yield, I have the overall numbers. How does it look for accessories? Okay, how does it look for bikes? How does it look for clothing? And you can go on and on. Any pretty much attribute you have in the table. You want to analyze by sales territory? You want to see Australia versus Canada? You can do that. You want to analyze it by, I don't know, customer gender? You can do that. How does it compare male versus female? All you have to do is add a slicer or create a new set of graphs. So folks, I'm going to keep it there for today, kind of keep it simple. And yeah, the message is that, sure, fancy DAX is great and there are tons of books out there, but don't feel like that's absolutely necessary. You do need kind of the fundamentals so you can understand how measure works. The first step would be to realize that measures is the true strength. And if you are in the habit of doing calculated columns, avoid that. If you're doing kind of new columns or things like that, yeah. So these two are wildly different. And if you ask me, this button should be about like this big, and this button, I mean, not to say it's not needed, but I don't know. Maybe this should be off somewhere here. I don't know. I don't care. But new column people use quite a bit. So that's the first step. And once you start doing measures, sure, you're going to run into scenarios where you're going to have to write some complex DAX, and it helps to have the concepts. But this tool is pretty amazing, and there are so many scenarios where you don't have to have mastered DAX to really get terrific value out of it. So my friends, that's all I have today. I would love to answer any questions that you have. I'll do some shout outs. Shoaib, hello from KSA. I'll have to look that up. Darren says hi. Hello there. So hey, that's reach frequency yield. If you've used it before, let me know. I'd love to hear that. But otherwise, it might be something you think about. And again, try to apply it in different scenarios. Doesn't have to be sales. Doesn't have to be finance. I believe it can be applied in any scenario. We talked about the website scenario where you can say reach is the number of website visitors, frequency is how many times they come, and yield is just the kind of the depth of the interaction and how long do they stay. Perfect. And again, my friends, learn PowerBI.com. So today, if I sound a little bit tired, we just came off a 2+ hour Q&A call with my class, and yeah, I mean, it was, I always enjoy those. There were 2 pages of questions, so I noted down, and you can see we filled 2 pages. Somehow lost my mouse. There it is. It was page 1 and page 2, and yeah, so my course, one of the key goals for my course, and you can find all the information by just going to learnpowerbi.com, is to bridge what I call the knowing doing gap. You can study a lot of books. You can go to a live class, and that's going to be like a fire hose. It's going to be super exciting.
Enrollment to my Learn Power BI program is open right now.
You can attend online courses, but when you sit down at your desk and you start applying it, it becomes a whole other story, right? I have seen that so many times, and sure, there might be exceptions. There might be those whiz kids who can kind of figure it out right away. But I'll tell you, it took me a while. I wrote my first DAX measure in 2009, and it takes a while to kind of learn up and start applying. And I want to shorten that gap for you. Not only I want to make the learning really quick and easy. I mean, you're getting the shortcut that I developed over the years. But when it comes to really applying it, you have a ton of help inside the course. So you have the live Q&A calls, and you also have help inside the Facebook group, and that's pretty awesome. And we just did, so one of my students, Michael from Netherlands, he had suggested this idea, hey Avi, we should put everybody on a map. And we finally did. And it's pretty cool, isn't it? It's great. And it kind of reminds me that we often forget that usually there are people behind the data. It doesn't matter what you're charting. It could be sales, operations, support, warehouse shipments. There is somebody behind it, and it's about them. It's about their quality of lives and all of that. So for me, certainly it's a very tangible connection because every dot is a student who has gone through the course and found it of value, but more importantly, they have also helped me. I always learn with them. So again, the whole deal for the course is it's for kind of the busy business user. All of the videos are there recorded. So the course is recorded. Only the help is live. I think you like it that way. Otherwise, imagine the other way around where the course is live. So you have to show up. You have to work on the terms of the course. But the whole course is completely recorded. And I'll just give you a quick peek inside. All of the videos are there. So you can watch them anytime you want. Everything is broken out into small bite-sized video, 3 to 7 minutes, because I know your life is busy. Everything has sample files, which you can use to walk through along with the video lessons. And then, of course, and that's the key part, I encourage all of my students to go apply it. Apply it, and they're going to run into trouble, but that's where I am there to kind of help them over the roadblocks with the live Q&A calls, with the Facebook help and all of that. So this is the main course, and again, all the videos, you get instant access. I know some courses like drip it out, that you get one module every week. Some courses, of course, give you like 1 year of access. Right now, at least, you get a lifetime access. And in a way, you're kind of getting in on the ground floor. So here's the story. So the course has been targeted towards beginner and intermediate, but I've had some advanced students join as well. And there are two reasons why I think they have found it valuable. Again, I don't target them, but I see these users who have been using it for many, many years. They join in. Actually, maybe three reasons. So one, sometimes they're still missing some of the fundamentals. I mean, these concepts, row context, filter context, row context transition, things like that, these are slightly tricky. So they get help with the concepts, the core concepts. Maybe it helps clarify or re-clarify them. They get a deeper understanding of that. And then they're able to tweak the course as they want with the Q&A calls. So Q&A calls, I know all the students move at their own pace, so you can bring in any question you want. It's not like, oh, week 1 you need to bring me the zero to dashboard, the first module, and then the second module. No, if you are through the course, or if you're at that level, you can ask me about anything anywhere, and it's all good. So they're able to kind of tweak the course. And the next thing, which I think is super attractive, is, my friends, I'm growing with my students. So I started with that beginner and intermediate, but my students have gone on. I mean, I've been teaching this course since February. So of course, I've been teaching Power BI pretty much since like 2010. So I started teaching internally within Microsoft, then left Microsoft and toured around the US, NBC, Universal, NASA, all of those places. So I've done that, but this online course. But my students have gone on, and now they keep asking me a little bit advanced questions. So I've been building out this advanced library, and you can see that it's got real world examples. It's got this data modeling mini course. It's got this complete ultimate calendar module. Now some of this is in YouTube, but not all of it. That's pretty much a teaser. And we have more ideas here. So what you get right now is you kind of get in on the ground floor by signing up right now. And right now, so far, I've been offering lifetime access. I might change my mind at some point. I might say, you know what? You get 1 year. Because, hey, this is a lot of work, and it's a lot of value too. Because I keep adding content, and I keep updating content as Power BI changes. But right now, if you get in, as the course grows, and I already have topics. So today on the call, I was talking to my students. I'll show you the notes. So right at the end there, actually it's kind of hard to see. Oh boy. Yeah, you can see here, we were talking about this, adding these in the advanced library, kind of a mini course covering DAX functions and some advanced DAX concepts. And yeah, they're already in. They kind of grandfathered in. So again, the focus of the course is the business user. The course is designed to kind of fit into your busy lives and not waste your time, teach you the stuff that's really important, kind of the 80-20 rule, the 20% that gives you the best bang for the buck, and make sure you have lots and lots of help, because that, I think, is the biggest time waster, where you're stuck. We're just spinning your wheels. We said, oh gosh, yeah, I mean, he showed me in the class, or I saw that in the video, but when I do it, this happens. And just being able to just ask a tight-knit group, just being able to ask me on a live Q&A call, just being able to just share your screen and ask that, that's value. So somebody on a previous call was asking, hey, is it worth this much? I'm like, dude, I can't say that. You decide. But I've heard the feedback from my students, and some of them say, Avi, got my money back just with that one question I asked, because it saved me so much time. I didn't have to go spin my wheels, go down the wrong track, and then have to backtrack. And imagine that for a company, for an organization. All right. So hey, if you have any Power BI questions, feel free to ask. Just pop in the chat window, and I'll be happy to answer them. If you have any questions about the course, I would be happy to tell you more. And yeah, so Facebook group, I have to say I had my doubts as well. In fact, so this course has gone through so many tweaks and iterations. That's another reason why I love doing an online course, because I can keep tweaking it. I can keep running these mini experiments and just see what works better. So when we started off, we had a different discussion board, and it was not great. But now on Facebook, I mean, everybody knows Facebook. Facebook is already spending millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars trying to improve the functionality here every day. And you can do so much. I mean, so I do Facebook Live. I wouldn't have, I don't know how I would have built my own framework for that. So I love my Facebook group, and it's been really good. You can see people are very interactive. All over asked a question, and kind of he got 3 responses pretty much right away. And I get on there. I do a lot of video as well. So this is just me giving a quick update. And of course, we do the Facebook Live. So the long ones, the 1 hour plus ones, are the Facebook Lives. It's 1 hour 37 minutes. And Power BI is one of those communities where it's not, well, it's big if you count the number of people, but it's not big. I mean, you kind of know the players. And folks, these either are the players or the ones who are going to be the players. So Scott Ferguson, one of the students, he's setting up this website, Healthcare Decision Insights. How cool is that? Let's see. I think he has some screenshots of the dashboards he's done. Super, super cool. Terrific. Okay, so you guys are a bit quiet. I'm not seeing much on the chat board. Sometimes I screw it up. I'm like, oh, I forgot to scroll down. But so again, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I welcome you, my friend, to join the Learn Power BI family. So I started this in February, and yeah, I had the Learn Power BI name, but only about a month and a half ago, I found myself talking to somebody and I used the words Learn Power BI family. But that changed my whole perspective, because once I used those words, first of all, they fit. It felt like, yeah, they feel right. Learn Power BI family. That's how I want to see this. But then I asked myself, if it is indeed a family, how would you treat them? And I remembered a company which has a policy that they don't lay people off. They, just doesn't matter how hard the time, they don't lay them off because it's family. So so we changed a few things. The Facebook Live inside the Facebook group, that wasn't a thing. That thought had never crossed my mind. But once I started thinking about it as a family, I'm like, hey, what can I do? So I have some other crazy ideas. Hiob is there. Hello, Hiob. Hi there from California. Awesome. Bet it's sunny over there. Well, it's okay. In Seattle, whenever it's not raining, it's good weather. Yeah. Terrific. So, so Facebook Live was not a thing. But yeah, after that, I do Facebook Live. That gives them another level of support. I've had some other crazy ideas, which, again, I love the flexibility of an online course. So another crazy idea I've had is what I call a day with Avi, where, so if you look at the course, if you go to the sign up page, learnpowerbi.com, and go from there, you're going to see it has got 3 tiers, and essentially the 3 tiers, you get the exact same course. I know some people are confused about that. So you're going to see 3 tiers, but they're exact same course. You get the exact same content. The only question is, how much of Avi do you want? All right, that's the only question. So Facebook, that's kind of level 1. That's the standard edition. You have me, you have all of the class helping you, the past members, awesome, right? So that's really good. That's kind of level 1. The next level is the live Q&A call. So that is this, and that is fully interactive. You jump on with me, you share your screen, you just talk. You're on the phone. You're not chatting with me like this. Uh, so that's kind of level 2. And the third level is one-on-one. Now, I caution people though, I say one-on-one is really kind of for strategic consulting work, where you want me to solve a problem or something like that. If you're looking to learn Power BI, there's nothing better than group calls. And I see that over and over again. And I couldn't have guessed that, but that's the dynamic. Because you learn not just from your own questions, but from everybody else's questions. And boy, I have to say my students come up with some good questions. So when they ask a good question, one thing that I do is sometimes I say, okay, that's good. That's a good one. I'm gonna go record a video of that. And sometimes I end up with more action items for me than anybody else. It's kind of crazy. But so again, the 3 tiers that there are is just how much of Avi do you want, but you get access to the exact same course. You go in and you're gonna have the exact same course at any level, any level. All right, folks. So. If you have any questions, let me know. Let's do kind of a last call. So again, hopefully this helped you. I would encourage you to go try it out with your own data. Try to figure out the reach, frequency, and yield, and see what kind of graph do you get, right? I mean, what's trending up, what's trending down, and show it to others. And let me know. Let me know how your experience was, what the reaction was. And again, none of this is hard. All of these were simple DAX formulas with the magic of slice and dice, right? Define once, use anywhere. So go ahead, give reach, frequency, and yield a try. See how you can apply, how you can calculate these measures. Should be really straightforward, but I think that the results are going to be super interesting. Okay, I'm going to sign off for now. But the course enrollment is only open till tomorrow. So the last time I had opened the course was in July. So now it's July, August, September, October. I don't know when I'm going to open the doors again. But if you are interested, you only have till tomorrow, 9 p.m. Pacific. And the course is going to be closed. I'm going to be focused on the class. And I love that model because then it lets me kind of pivot and really focus on my students, focus on the class. So it's only, so to sign up, just go to learnpowerbi.com, and that's gonna walk you through the sign up process. And it's a little bit of I admit I make you jump through a little bit of hoops because I want to make sure that it's a good fit for the students. So if you go there, I would definitely encourage you to kind of watch the video. It's just 3 minutes, but it talks about who this course is targeted towards. And if that appeals to you, if that's like, yeah, that's me, then you can kind of click and it'll give you all the information about the course, about how to sign up and everything else. So yeah, just go to learnpowerbi.com. All right, my friends. So I'm gonna sign off. I'll see you tomorrow. That's the last day of the 5 days of live. And that's also the last day of the course enrollment. And yeah, I wish you the best. Power on, my friends.